Well, good morning. This is one of what I hope to be many opportunities to send out videos, what I'm calling training videos, and sometimes they'll feel like training, and sometimes they'll just feel like encouragement throughout the course of each semester or each year that you're serving as a small group leader within student ministry here at Legacy. These are very practical opportunities for me not to fill our schedules with more, but to give you an 8 to 10 minute video, sometimes shorter, with training, with observations that I'm seeing, with things that you're giving both Stephen and Bailey in your weekly talks, or things that come up within our coffee talks bi-monthly, or just, like I said, observations that I see throughout each week. And so you might see more here early on in the semesters. We've made major shifts in both middle school and high school, probably more so with you as high school small group leaders now leading Bible study. And I'm going to be checking in a lot and asking how things are going and putting things in front of you that help you just have a fruitful and successful time as leaders within our student ministry. So today, I really just have one thing I want to touch base with you on, and that's just a few comments and even concerns that I had and observations that I made from just your hour-long Bible study that you have a chance to do. And I think the first thing I want to say is remember, this is it's not a classroom. It's not, you want to do whatever you can to keep the students from feeling like they're coming to another class. They just sat in class all day. They don't need a teacher. They don't need another classroom. What they need is a place where they feel like they belong, and a place that they can dive into passages of Scripture together. And so that's, yes, difficult. It's one of the reasons we're moving towards homes, because when you're sitting in couches or in a living room, it's much easier to make it feel that way. It just means for the time being, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. And so that could mean during the first 15 minutes, maybe it's not around a table with chairs. Maybe it is more around a catchphrase game, or around ice cream floats, and you're going to talk about your week and talk about the 3 funniest stories from the week, but something to break the ice, something to make it feel like we're not just jumping straight into a lesson. I think is going to be the challenge that you're going to have to figure out. And the other thing I would say on that is realizing that you have multiple leaders in your group for a reason. If you have 2 people or 3 people, one is going to be really good at leading a Bible study. Maybe there's a gifting there. That's why we have you do uniquely you. There's a gifting there to lead students, to read through a passage of Scripture and have them, what do you see? And then you're helping direct because you have the booklet in front of you. So maybe they give 10 things, but you know the one thing at the top is the one where the book goes, and that's the direction we need to head. And so somebody's going to be really good at that. Some of you have done that a lot in your life. Others of you are going to be good at those icebreaker periods. Getting students to feel really welcome at the beginning, relationally, maybe that's where you're gifted, and you're gonna almost feel like another student in the group, engaging with the leader to help the other girls or guys engage. But the important piece is it's not a classroom, which also means you as the small group leader can't be talking the whole time. Even just poking my ear up against some of your gathering spaces, I heard a lot of small group leaders. And it's going to take time, but I would encourage you that you want them to be talking. You want them to be observing. You want them to be asking questions that the question is pointed to get us to a certain place. But you want them to see it themselves. If they can start seeing things in Scripture for themselves, it's going to root in, and that's what we want. And we also want them to know how to not rely on you. This is one of the reasons we took me off the stage and put them in a group. It's one of the reasons middle school, the teaching is interactive now. So I read a passage and I'm helping them see this now and say, okay, what do you see? We got crazy responses last week, but I knew there were 3 that I wanted them to get for that week. So not a lot of talking on your part. So things to think through of it's not a classroom. I'm not a teacher. We're not teachers. They're not pupils. They are students who we're trying to get them to see truths of Scripture on their own. And so that's important. Like I said, each one of your leaders is gifted in a different way. The last thing I want to say is breathe. And realize that you don't have to get through the entire sheet, the entire chapter of a book for that week. You don't have to. In fact, you could just get through one point, and if the students are wrestling, and I think our high school boys group, they only made it through one section, but that's okay because they were wrestling the whole time. It's not like they were just talking about some football game. They were wrestling and asking questions and diving in, and you point them back to the passage and go, okay, what do we see here to answer some of those questions? Let that excite you. Let that eagerness that you see from your students asking questions, don't squelch that by going, we got to stay on topic. No, let them explore. Let them ask questions. If you don't know an answer, say, that's a great question. I'm going to get back with you next week on that because I think it's such a good question. Affirm, realize we maybe do need to move on because I don't know the answer to that question. But you don't have to get through it all. And so breathe, breathe, breathe. Realizing that you are not just there to lead them through a Bible study. Notice I didn't say teach, I said lead them through a study of the Bible. You're also there to share your life with them. And that is the difference. And it makes me think of 1 Thessalonians 2:8. It says this, so being affectionately desirous of you, we were ready to share with you not only the gospel, not only words, not only talking about what this passage says of God, but also our own selves, because you had become very dear to us. So let that begin to be your motivation in this hour of digging into Scripture, realizing you don't have to get through the whole thing. Take a deep breath. Realize even if it's just one section, if they're wrestling, we're going to camp here. And also knowing that these students are coming to learn about God, not about what you think about God. So let them dive in and let them get to a place where they feel really comfortable and eager asking questions each Wednesday night. You're truly valued and loved, and I hope you know that. I'm praying for each of you today and tomorrow and Wednesday as we get ready for another Wednesday night. We'll see you then.